Welcome to the 9th episode of Faith and Freedom, the Presidents Who Built America. This year, 2026, commemorates the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, a profound occasion to honor the men who, through courage and conviction, defended and expanded the blessings of liberty for future generations. In this weekly series, we highlight the positive accomplishments of each president, examining their leadership through the lens of biblical truth and the founding ideals of humility, public service, and reliance on divine providence. Last week, we explored John Quincy Adams, and today we turn to William Henry Harrison, the war hero known as Old Tippecanoe. Though his presidency was tragically brief, he delivered an inaugural address that reaffirmed the nation's commitment to liberty government and moral virtue, and whose life exemplified selfless duty to the country. So if you're interested, if you're curious, stick around. Let's dive in.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
William Henry Harrison was born in 1773 on Berkeley Plantations in Virginia, the youngest son of Benjamin Harrison V, the signer of the Declaration of Independence, and Elizabeth Bassett Harrison. Raised in a family of deep Anglican faith and patriotic service, young William grew up amidst the ideals of the Revolution. His father's influence instilled in him a sense of duty, and Harrison later reflected on the role of religion in public life. In his 1841 inaugural address, he expressed, "I deemed the present occasion sufficiently important and solemn to justify me in expressing my fellow citizens a profound reverence for the Christian religion, and a thorough conviction that sound morals, religious liberty, and a just sense of religious responsibility are essentially connected with all true and lasting happiness." Like the biblical Joshua, who led Israel after Moses with unwavering commitment, Harrison pursued a military career at a young age, studying medicine briefly before joining the army in 1791. His early experiences on the frontier forged his character, teaching him resilience and leadership under fire. Harrison's pre-presidential career was marked by distinguished military and diplomatic service. As governor of the Indiana Territory from 1800 to 1812, he negotiated treaties with Native American tribes and led forces to victory at the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811, earning his famous nickname. During the War of 1812, he commanded the Army of the Northwest, securing key victories that protected the frontier. Harrison attributed his success to divine favor, writing in a dispatch after Tippecanoe, "The interposition of heaven was never more manifest than in the late battle." This reliance on God guided his approach to governance, emphasizing justice and the common good. Now let us explore William Henry Harrison's key accomplishments during his brief presidency in 1841, which was tragically met with his untimely death after just 31 days in office, reflecting his vision for a humble and accountable government. First, Harrison delivered one of the most principled inaugural addresses in American history, outlining a platform of limited executive power and respect for Congress. He pledged to serve only one term, veto bills sparingly, and avoid interfering in legislative matters. In his address, he declared, "The Constitution is the rock upon which our existence as a nation depends," and invoked divine wisdom, saying this, "Under the favor of heaven, we have been brought from colonial dependence to national independence." This commitment to restraint embodied the founding ideal of checks and balances, echoing the biblical principle in Proverbs 11:14, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in abundance of counselors, there is safety." Because Harrison modeled humility in office, he reinforced the presidency as a servant role, influencing future leaders to prioritize the Constitution over personal ambition. Second, Harrison appointed a cabinet of distinguished statesmen, including Daniel Webster as Secretary of State and John J. Crittenden as Attorney General, to promote unity and expertise in government. Though his time was short, this cabinet laid a groundwork for stable administrations during a period of partisan division. Harrison viewed public service as a sacred trust, stating in his inaugural address, "It is in periods like this that the character of the people is put to the test, relying on the aid of that almighty power which has hitherto protected us." This focus on competent moral governance aligned with the founding vision of a republic led by virtuous citizens, drawing from the biblical call in Exodus 18:21. "Select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials." Because Harrison prioritized talent over patronage, he set a precedent for merit-based appointments that strengthened the executive branch. Third, Harrison advocated for economic reforms to address the lingering effects of the Panic of 1837, calling for a special session of Congress to tackle banking and tariff issues. In his inaugural, he emphasized fiscal responsibility, warning against the love of money and the love of power, which he saw as threats to liberty. He declared that the love of power and the love of money are the two most powerful passions of the human heart. Though illness prevented him from implementing these plans, his call for reform reflected the founding ideal of a sound money and limited federal intervention, echoing the biblical warning of 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." Because Harrison prioritized economic stability, his vision influenced the Whigs Party agenda and helped guide the nation toward recovery. Fourth, Harrison's election itself was a triumph of popular democracy. In his log cabin and hard cider campaign, it mobilized ordinary voters and expanded political participation. He won a landslide victory, proving that the common man, despite his aristocratic roots, could ascend to the highest office. Harrison saw this as providential, noting in a private correspondence in his belief in the overruling providence of God. This broadening of the electorate embodied the founding evolution toward a greater inclusion, aligning with the biblical principles in Galatians 3:28. "There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is neither male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." Because Harrison's campaign energized the masses, it set the stage for more democratic engagement in American politics. Harrison's presidency was tragically brief, cut short by pneumonia contracted after delivering his long inaugural address in cold weather. He faced the challenge of high expectations from the Whig Party coalition, which sought major reforms. Yet even in illness, Harrison's faith remained steadfast. On his deathbed, he reportedly said, "I wish you to understand the true principles of the government. I wish them carried out. I ask nothing more." Through this final trial, Harrison modeled the founding virtue of self-sacrifice, leaving a legacy of duty fulfilled. So how do William Henry Harrison's accomplishments impact us today in 2026? Because he advocated for limited executive power in his inaugural vision, we inherited a presidency bound by constitutional humility, reminding leaders to serve rather than to dominate. Because he assembled a cabinet of principled experts, we benefit from a tradition of merit-based governance that ensures competence in public office. Because he called for economic reforms grounded in moral caution, we draw inspiration for fiscal responsibility in times of financial uncertainty. And because his campaign expanded democratic participation, we enjoy a political system where the voice of the common citizen holds real power. Harrison's life teaches us that even brief service can leave an eternal mark when guided by faith and principle. As he affirmed in his inaugural, under the favor of heaven, we have been brought from colonial dependence to national independence. I want to thank you all so much for joining me as we continue this exploration of America's presidential history. Next week, we'll examine John Taylor, the accidental president who asserted the full powers of the office and annexed Texas, strengthening the Union through bold action. If this series encourages you to appreciate our nation's godly heritage, hit that bell and share this with others. Together, let us celebrate the faith and freedom that have built this great nation. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. I wish you all a very great week. Bye for now.